Kaya Podcast would like to acknowledge that this episode was recorded on Whadjuk land of the Noongar people. We recognise our First Nations people as the traditional custodians of the land, and we pay our respects to their elders past, present and future.
Kaya Wanji, hello and welcome to the Kaya Podcast. And damn it, I've done it again. We get so many awesome guests that come in who have done amazing things, not only for themselves but in the community, and it's just being a great role model. And we're just so lucky here. We get so many good guests in, and today I am so excited because we have a guest unlike any other that we've had before, someone that just ticks all the boxes when you look at not only role models but female role models, you know, sport athlete presence in our community and also across the nation, and a huge sporting presence. We'll get into all those sporting accolades in just a few, but please welcome Kirby Bentley. Kirby, how are you? Thank you for coming on.
No, thank you so much for having me. I was looking forward to this.
Yeah. Oh, I'm really glad to hear that because like we've been super excited. I've got a bunch of friends that's big fans of you in the sporting world, and they're new fans of you in the reality TV world. So this is awesome to sit down and have a yarn with you.
Nah, it's so good. It takes a lot for us and our people to do well and to be successful without any sort of challenges. And I think without a doubt, a lot of your guests, a lot of our people would know what that feels like, and everyone, around our community knows what that is too. So, I'm so grateful for all the opportunities.
That's exactly why this podcast started. It was to tell our people's stories, and whether it's people who are going to do great things or people that have already done great things, but for them to tell their story from their perspective. A lot of the times, when someone else is telling your story, you don't really get the feeling across. You don't really get the personal struggles, or even the relief of triumphs. You know what I mean? So that's kind of why this kind of started, was to kind of give our people a platform and a voice, and to just have fun yarns. That's what it's about.
Exactly. Like connecting and celebrating. It's massive, and that's how it's relatable. So it makes people continue on to do what they're doing, regardless. And we're resilient. Like, our people are so resilient, and that is something to celebrate in itself.
Yep, exactly. Like, if this inspires just one person to just have a go, to just go chase that dream or chase that goal, even just to set that goal, then you know what, we're doing our job right.
100%. Yeah.
No, definitely. But you're living in Melbourne. How's Melbourne life going? I just got back, and I'm absolutely in love with Melbourne. Like that city. Oh my God, I just love the city.
Yeah, well, Perth's pretty small. Once you sort of get playing. In footy became pretty big for me after playing netball. So, to play in the footy world and then to carry some injuries, I got drafted or signed on with Carlton. I was going on pure reputation. Like, I was underdone, I was overweight, and, my knees, I've had 4 reconstructions. So,
oh damn.
Yeah. So moving across to Melbourne was, I think, a new beginning, and there are so many opportunities over there. And being one of very few Aboriginal players at the time, and now one of 2 Aboriginal female AFLW coaches, or I'm not coaching at the moment, but to have our Cert 3 or Level 3 in coaching, it's huge. So Melbourne's the place to be, I think, at the moment. Yeah,
that's massive, and how do you go with traffic over there? I got so many more questions about what you just said, but when I was over there, it was only about 3 k's down the road, and the map said half an hour, and I was like, man, I can run faster than this. Why are we sitting in the car?
No. So when I first got there, I cruising around, and we don't have trams, obviously. The trams just pull up, and on my way to training, I just used to be I'll skim past these mob, but I didn't know that you had to stop, and it was illegal. So I nearly hit a few people a few times, and I got to training once, and I was like, what's the go with these people just getting off this thing? And they told me I could get fined. People were yelling at me as well. I was like, what are you yelling at? Anyways, I learned, but I bought a scooter. So I can just...
Oh, the e-scooters?
A motorbike scooter.
Oh, the motorbike one.
Yeah, to get from A to B. So I had to get a flight to Canberra. I went up for a 40th, and chucked a suitcase on the back, 100 Ks down the thing. I felt like, Dumb and Dumber when they lean into the wind. Yeah. I was just wobbling, cruising, looking at these trucks just passing me too. But I don't care. Like, I felt like no one knew me then.
Like Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Oh no. What's his name? Lloyd. Lloyd.
Yeah. It's not Noel coming out.
Oh no. No, but that's it. Like Melbourne life, and even because I think I had a couple of days free where I just literally got to know my camera a little bit better and went around the city, took some photos and tried to figure out the tram system and all of that. And I had the time of my life. I like how Melbourne, every part you go is kind of like a different town within a city. Like,
it's like exciting. It's like you're discovering something, but and it's a pretty inclusive city as well. Like I don't ever feel watched over there.
Yeah.
Whereas I come back here and I feel like people are, waiting for us to do something.
Everyone
yeah.
No, that's it. And I was playing in a tournament, and I was like, man, I don't, because I'd never really spent too much time in Victoria. I was like, man, I don't know how I'm going to go in a blackfella tournament, but like without Nyunga. I was like, this is going to be different. I hope I see a Nyunga. And then as I'm walking in, the bloke in front of me has a Kerry Park Bunbury backpack on, and I'm reading it, and I was like, surely not. And then he turns around, and I was like, hey uncle, how are you? I was like, within 2 minutes, I was like, all right, I'm feeling good. And then Uncle Josh Hill came up. Pop Josh Hill, sorry, he came up, and he's like, yeah man, if you want to move over, it's the place to be. Like,
I think so too. Just for opportunities, because we can do so much from over there for our people here, but we can always come back home.
Yeah, that's it.
And it's always going to be home for us.
And it's a short trip. Like the flight, 3 hours.
Melbourne, Victorians don't think it's short, but it's short for us,
That's short for us. No, so as you mentioned before, the way I kind of got to know you was through AFLW. And, much like a lot of young guys, you were kind of coming into the league 2017, was it? 2017 you got drafted? Yeah. So coming into the league at 2017 for Fremantle and really being one of the main presence, I think, yourself, also Gemma Houghton was really kind of the main two that we kind of noticed. How'd you kind of, get used to that platform? Because you did get drafted, 2017. Like, imagine if you got drafted, in your earlier years. How do you kind of think in your prime years? Yeah. I don't want to say prime because I feel like time's kind of irrelevant. You know what I mean? I feel like everyone perceives time differently. Like, you got guys like LeBron, for example. You got guys in the NBA, 35 plus, that are moving like their prime. So I don't want to say prime. I just want to say more like older.
Yeah. Well, for me, my prime was probably in my 20s, 25 to, I'd say, 29. But I was lucky. I got to play footy from the age of 24 up until the draft in 2017, and I played with and against footballers.
Yep.
Like, the players knew how to play footy. They understood, positioning, running patterns, everything to do with it. So, and I'm black, so if I didn't get a kick with all the brothers, I didn't get to play.
Yeah.
So, and growing up in Mount Barker, Cracker Country,
not giving you a kick.
No, none of them. So the same thing, like, you'd be playing King of the Pack, and I was one of two girls, and my sister was one of them. So, that's how I learned how to play footy, and that's kind of my starting point. But to be playing pre the AFLW, I've won probably 6 premierships. I played for Melbourne in all the inaugural games, and they had a draft system as well. So I was drafted with Melbourne, and I think I was the only Aboriginal. No, there were 2 of us. One was a Davey girl. So, to be a part of that history, or the foundation of what that looks like, is huge. And you step into the AFLW, pre-signed with Freo, and again, I'm a part of history, but what are we doing now? That's sort of where I'm at.
Exactly.
A lot of what I do is for my nieces and, our young girls in our country.
So it'll be kind of cool because you got to see really the
transition,
the transition and the league develop from those early stages, to where it is now, where you've got, you got a lot of Indigenous girls kind of going through that pathway because you've already, walked those footsteps. And
we should have more. Like, our talent, if our boys didn't play the game that they play, then we'd be seeing something so boring and stagnant. Like, we need our people playing because that's creative. That's what we want to see. We want to see that excitement and natural talent. But the challenge I feel with coaching, and I found that as a player as well, the difference was that I was in a position to sort of call it out. Like, don't put me in a box. Let me do me, because I understand what the game plan is. But a lot of coaches expect our young girls, and probably the boys as well, to, this is a game plan, run the patterns, take 20 steps if I tell you to do that, and then, you know, restrict their limitations on their ability to play the game. But it's so limiting, right? You don't get far if you're going to put everyone in a box.
That's
and our
right.
people don't need to be put in a box.
That's right, and it's like that across across multiple sports, like not just football as well. It's where it's like, you know, you've got this far because of how you play the game. So why, when you get to that level, do they stop how you play the game? Like, you're in that team for a reason, because obviously the coaching staff or the scouting staff has seen something in you. Same thing with a lot of the basketball guys. Same thing with, with AFL and even netball as well. Like, let us play. We know how to play the game. Stop thinking we don't. Like,
maybe it's not us that needs to adjust. Maybe it's the coach that actually needs to understand the players. But like when I was development coach at Bulldogs, Artie Jones was just drafted, and he was struggling with the fact that he's like, you drafted me because of what I can do, but now you want me to do the opposite. Like, so he struggled with that, and I hope that he's finding his feet, and I hope that the coach sort of meets his strengths, because that's what you need if you want these players to excel, and if you want to be a better coach, like contribute to that growth, and which means you need to contribute to that growth in yourself.
And that's what I love about Arthur as well. He's very open. He's very honest. Like, he doesn't know something about, I don't know.
He's a genuine
but he's just
soul,
genuine,
isn't he?
and then he's, you know, puts on a happy face, you know, no matter where he goes, makes everyone smile around him. Like, because, you know, obviously being an old Binnar boy, and seeing him develop as, like, I remember I went away to America for a year, and then I came back and I was like, who's this fella? Hardy. But, you know, seeing him actually being able to ask those questions in that platform, like, and realizing, okay, they've brought me here because of my talent, want me to do something different, how can I adjust? That's just great maturity, like, from a young person. Like, that's cool to see.
And he's so respectful as well, and I think people see that in him.
Well, that's because of Tamania. Tamania will flog him if he comes back home.
He's a strong woman.
No, but that's exactly right. So, you know, we touched on it a little bit there as well. As we talk about multi-sports, and, you know, a lot of the things that I tell my kids is you don't always have to choose one sport. You can seasonal change. Like, if, you know, basketball's getting stressful, go, you know, have a game of footy. Go do a season of footy. Maybe you need a year off. Vice versa, and doing the same, and just being able to do that stuff while you can. And I think you're, you know, prime example of someone who just done it. You know what I mean? Like, you know, you went from, and we talk about West Coast Fever. You had a little bit of, you know, a netball background before you went into football. How did you kind of make that change to footy? Like, what went there?
No, so I started playing netball just by accident. I was a tomboy as well, so I hated wearing skirts, and I played, I think, 6 games of footy, and then I came up for these trials. I had no idea what I was coming up for, but I just saw that at the end of these 3 phases it said Canberra, Nyunga, not a lot of money.
Let's go.
I was like, never seen a plane. So I said to Dad, I was like, you know, where's Canberra? And he said, other side of the country. I said, is that on an airplane? He was like, yeah. And I was like, all right. So I trained my ass off. Like, I was like, I put in 110% into everything, did all the 1%ers plus some. And I made this team, and it was a state 17s team. I was 14 years old, representing WA, no idea. I was holding this dress thinking, I'm getting a ticket on this plane now. I'm all good. I don't care if I wear it or not. But I ended up playing, made the All-Australian, first ever 14-year-old to do that in the history of the game. So, and it's a huge achievement, but a lot of the behind the scenes, people don't see that. They they think that I run off natural talent, but there's work that has to go into it because I am responsible for the end result of a team if I don't pull my weight.
Yep.
But I learned that as a 14-year-old, and I ended up 2 years later, I was 16, signed with Perth Orioles, who's now West Coast Fever.
Yep.
Went to AIS, came back, went to Hunter Jaegers. So, you know, throughout from 16 to 24, I was playing in the National League system. I played against Australia, in sort of talent games to make up their numbers. But I had some great exposure to being an elite athlete, to professionalism, to having that discipline. So that was the only thing that kept my focus, that allowed me to grow as a person and to learn what that looks like, because it challenged me.
Yeah.
I started to get the breaks started to, you know, be put on by one of my coaches. She said to me, you need to be brought down a peg, because I had this cheeky confidence and I was young, like I was probably 19, 20, never sat on the bench, like I was just, you know, just loving it. But I wasn't arrogant in my mind. I was just like, let's get better, let's be better, let's be a show off. Because I'd just do things that people just don't see in a netball game. Yeah. And I think it's a real Nyunga thing to do. But yeah, I loved it and people loved it. But the coach just decided that she thought that she needed to put me into a situation that pulled me down a peg.
Yep.
So I remember sitting on the bench and we were getting pumped, but she still wanted to put me on. And from that moment, I started to lose a lot of faith in my ability to play the game. I started to lose that sort of drive as well. I still did all of those things, but yeah, she just said you don't work hard enough. And I couldn't understand that. But in saying that, she also didn't know me as a person. And I find that as a coach, you need to know your people. You need to know the individual. It's not about the club as such. It's about, well, what makes you, you know, sort of like tick. How do I get the most out of you? But what are your challenges? What's your growth there? And how can I help with that? So I learned that from a young age. But transitioning into footy, in 2009, my mum's sister was murdered, domestic violence, Andrea Pickett, and it was national-wide news, failed by the system. The police went to Marybrook Police and they didn't take her seriously. The housing, she had her 7 youngest kids, and they also said, well, you can't because you got a son with you. Like, there were just so many different failings on the government's part, and it was just disgusting. So I saw my mum lose her sister, I saw my nan lose her daughter, I saw my cousins lose their parents, and like I was one removed from that. So I was watching this, everyone just fall apart from this horrific tragedy. I wanted to get to know my sister, and she was playing footy. Yep. So that was the reason why. And now she's like my best friend. Yep. So that was the start of my footy career.
That's amazing. And like, you know, a lot of people, for the people and listeners that are tuned in, the way Indigenous families work, our aunties, our uncles, they're our second mum and dad, because we're so close. We don't have like first, second, third cousins. Like, we're all just brothers and sisters. So, like, you know, a lot in our family, we call our aunties mum. We call call our uncles dad out of respect, and that just, you know, is how close we are together. And it's just and we bring that same family entity into our teams. Like, when we got our teammates, they're our brothers. When we got our coach, they're the next up there. So, but definitely with the way you've transitioned through your sports, I can't commend you enough for that, because that's something that speaks to me, and a lot of, like, personally, and a lot of people as well. So
sport opens up the opportunities, doesn't it? Like, we wouldn't be sitting here otherwise. So I just feel like it gives us the platform to be our best version of ourselves, but then to continue to be better.
Yep.
And it just, I'm big on celebrating culture.
Yep.
And our people, and not a lot of and changing and creating that shift in society, which is a big reason why I went on Survivor. That's what I wanted to do, because we just don't celebrate enough. We're good, funny, welcoming people. Let us be.
Yep. Let us go. We share our knowledge. Our culture is all about sharing knowledge. Yeah. This is what I love about having someone in on the podcast that's media trained, because it makes the segues just so much easier. Everything just transitions. So we just went through. Okay. All right. So culture. When did you kind of find that importance of expressing your culture? You just talked about how you went on Survivor to promote your culture. But not only that, you've been doing that your whole life. Through sport and through yourself, and sport just gave you more of a platform to be able to do that. When did that fire to express your culture kind of start, and how did it start?
All young. I grew up in Mount Barker. Wadjulas, Nyungas.
Yep. Shout out to the Southwest.
Yeah. No other ethnicity. I didn't even know what anything else was. So I was a pretty naive kid. I thought the American accent was just for the movies. I thought everything was made up. I thought Australia was the world. So I was pretty naive.
Yeah.
But I remember being in primary school, and my best mates were boys, white boys, and they loved me. They respected me. But I remember them saying Abo and Bung, calling some Nyungar boys that. And I looked at them, I was like, what do you say? And they said it again, and they're like, no, not you. And I was like, when you're saying that, you're saying it to all of us, because mum and dad are so proud of who they are as, their people, because our ancestors and everything else, it's all just that connection and love for our family. So you're insulting all of us.
Yep.
And you're insulting my nan and pop, who I love the most. I'll fight you in a minute. Yeah. But I just remember that happening, and I've never heard that before, because I've known them since we were 4 or 5 years old. And I went home and I said to mum and dad, why are they saying it? They're like, it's not coming from them, it's coming from their elders, it's coming from their parents. And that was a big lesson, because I then knew that they actually probably didn't realise the impact it was having on me. And I remember going back to school and, having this yarn/argument/ let's go play footy conversation with them, and they took it really well. And I've never heard them disrespect me again. Who knows what happens behind closed doors, because everyone's really empowered when the door's shut.
How old were you when that happened?
I would have been 7 or 8.
Wow.
Yeah, so it was young. Yeah.
Conflicting as well, being a friend as well, and having to have that conversation, do I say something or do I not say something? I want to say something. How do I say it?
So mum and dad were big on respect. So if they said, you stand up for yourself and show respect, but if they disrespect you and they say you can go to town on them. But it's calling him out at a young age. I was encouraged to do that, but I didn't really get the confidence that I have now until late 20s, until I've sort of gone, well, I don't accept that anymore.
See, I love that, because right off the bat, you can see your parents went straight for the educating side, and that's the bit that I love. If someone's racist or says something, on the borderline between ignorance and naivety, sometimes they just need to be educated. Sometimes their education in Indigenous culture hasn't sunk in, or maybe they haven't had anyone to really tell them that, hey, we don't really use those words or talk this way. We don't get free stuff from the government or anything like that. I don't know where that rumour came from, but whoever them guys are, can you let them know?
Yeah, can you patch up, please?
I got some questions for them.
I lost $500,000 not long ago. Oh yeah, go fund Snoonger.
Yeah, go fund this. I'll do a GoFundMe for petrol. I don't care.
That's
for petrol money. But that's it. It's a shame that you went through something like that so early on, at 7, 8 years old, but then that kind of gave you the building blocks for now later being able to have those talks of education and cultural education from a mature point of view, rather than just, you're racist and all that stuff. You can kind of educate. That's how we progress.
Well, in a country town in Western Australia, WA is not the greatest for inclusion and open-minded people. Like, it's pretty racist if I can just be forward with that. But yeah, now Barker is worse. It is so divided, and we're kids. Like, we're 8 years old having this chat. But I know who I am. I know who my people are, and I know that the values that I stand for. So I stick true to that. And even as an adult now, if somebody is, and I know that they're like sort of questioning anything or they're wanting to ask something, I just tell them, put it on the table. Doesn't matter if it comes across wrong. I know it's coming from a good place. Let's talk about it. Because if you're going to talk about it with me, then you can go home and educate it. So that's sort of the lens that I now have.
Just pass that knowledge on.
Like, lay it out. Like, if you got something to say it. If you don't know how to ask it. Like, let's talk about it.
I say that a lot of the times to my like non-Indigenous friends, and some of them are really close. I call them family, but they're non-Indigenous. Is ask those questions that you might think is tough. We don't care. We'll answer it for you, but ask those questions, because I'm happy to tell you. I want to tell you more about my culture, and the fact that, you're willing to ask those questions shows that, me and you are good. Because I want you to feel comfortable to ask me that. Like,
because then it goes back.
If I've got modular questions, I'll ask you some modular questions. But
we probably already know anyways, but no. It's, I think it's so important to do that, because then they go home or when they're sitting with, their people. Then they're able to just say, no, that's not what happened. Like, this is what it is, or you can't say that because of this. So,
Like, one of our good mates, has joined Binna Futures organisation, and within the last year or two, and then we went to his birthday gathering, and non-Indigenous guy, but absolutely has taken on our culture, and calls the little kids dumb dogs, everything like that. Like, he's the funniest. Like, calls himself a lovely singer. I want to bash him sometimes. But we went to his birthday gathering, and his dad gave an awesome acknowledgement to country.
I love that.
Asked if it was okay first, and I was like, as long as you don't do a nyambi, you're right. But he asked for permission first and did like an awesome acknowledgement, and then we kind of sat there and was like, this is reconciliation. This is how we reconcile, not through anything else other than love and respect. And that it just felt so welcoming and good
connection, isn't it?
And then that bar tab got hurt because they put a bar tab on and they said, you's right, do whatever. I was like, well,
you don't know how thirsty we are.
You said it. I was like, well, you can't. Are you sure? They're like, we're sure.
This one.
Well, I'll give you some acknowledgement. All right. So, as we talk, Survivor, you wanted to express your culture on their show, pretty much show the country who you are, who we are as a people, who we are as a Noongar nation. And, that I've got so much respect for. I want to thank you so much for doing that, because, it's a lot of confidence to be able to go into that world. And this is something I've spoken about, with Brooke Blurton as well, going on to The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, and pretty much for very, very similar reasons, wanting to, not only be the first, not only be the first Indigenous person to be able to express that, but actually lay that precedent down for the next person. As well. And that's something that I just love that you did. So.
Like, if we... the whole purpose of going on Survivor, and Survivor's about manipulation and strategy and everything else, but for me...
so you just use, like, past intergenerational trauma.
100.
So, like, okay, we already educated.
No, but I genuinely use my life skills. I'm a black woman in Australia. Like, we're considered to be the bottom of the food chain. Like, and our brothers are just above that. So, and it's so sad and unfortunate. We're in 2024 and we're not looked at as something like a commodity. They don't see the value in us. So going on a show like this, I wanted to stand true to who I was. So I spoke a lot about, family and culture and all of that. I spoke on Auntie Andrea and, brothers with suicide and all of that stuff. And I stayed true to that. But the edit at the start showed me as this really bossy, like, dictator type person, but I wasn't. but I just knew how to work them. I just said, what do you think that we should do together? So it was really suggestive.
So you was playing chess from the get-go.
But do we not in society? Do our mob not have to do that? Like we walk into a job and we can't go and, stand tall and say, I know how to operate that bobcat. Like, let me jump in. Can you show me how to operate the bobcat that you want me to do it? And then they go, no worries. Like, wants
Asking
to learn.
The right questions.
Exactly. So Survivor's just like that, and that's the way I played it. But as the game went on, you saw a lot of how I actually am. So I'm a bit of a smart ass. I'm cheeky. I'll say what I think, and I'm confrontational, but I think in a healthy way. And people don't expect it because people get so uncomfortable. But I'm so used to doing it because I want to know the answer.
But you love that uncomfortableness.
I do. And they start to squirm. So I don't know if you saw the episode where Ree, my ride and die got voted off, and I was salty. I said, who got her? Like, whose resume is she on? And they're like, no one's. And then I walked away and they said, I'm not taking that shit. Say it to my face next time. Just standing on the beach, I'll roll you.
I'm going to take your shit around.
I'm taking that. Is she gone? I can't see her. She's got too dark. She doesn't have a mic. She doesn't have a mic.
Oh, that's hilarious. No, that would be awesome. See, even you got to create your own entertainment sometimes. Like, I know it's entertainment, for reality TV, but you got to have your fun within it as well.
And I did. I had the best time. Like, Ferris, who is an Arab man, we relate so much, for everything that we're scrutinised for, the lens is on us about everything, and the same with him and his people. So, and you see what's going on in the world today, like we come together. So our connection was on a deeper level, but his humour and my humour were the same. So we were able to banter and torment each other, but then get on with it and be cool with it. So that's why the show, and for the show to be around us is massive, awesome. Because nobody sees, black mob just thriving in a game like that. It's international.
It's huge. Especially being Nyunga, being a black fella. The reason why I'm a maths fan. I'm a big maths. You wouldn't think it looking at me or anything.
I can see it. I'm
a huge maths fan. I love my dinner ceremonies. I love the.
You just love the arguing.
I love the arguing. I love the drama. I even love the advice. Sometimes I'll be sitting there damn, I do that. Man, I need to rethink how I do that. But so I'm a big maths fan, and then, I think I'll like a lot of people. Seeing that there was a black fella on, Survivor, it was like, you know what, I'm watching, I'm going to take a break from maths. I'll get back to 9 now. Eventually, I'll renew my subscription soon. I'm gonna, we're gonna go watch Survivor because we're gonna support this lady that's doing it for our mob, and I think that's huge. Like seeing so many people watch it. Not just because it's Survivor, but because, all right, we're going to see someone that looks like us, talks like us, come from where we come from, and excel in that environment. You got fans in us.
And I love it. Like, mob from everywhere has sort of turned the channel, and they nearly boycotted the whole entire show after I got voted off after he broke up with me. I was that wild at him, but whatever, that's a whole different conversation. But but it was just
the bad boys.
I send him my pay ID every day. I'm like, I'm just checking if you got this. No, but it's so empowering, and I shame if I got voted off first. I just wouldn't tell anyone. But I'm so glad that I played the game the way that I played it. I'm so glad that I showed people, and not just our mob, but people, how resilient we are, but how strong we are, the leadership that we can have, but how balanced and not necessarily calculated, but calculated we are, because we've had to be that. We have to always be 3 steps ahead because we know what's coming if we're not.
Like just breaking down those stereotypes through laughter and entertainment. It is awesome. It is just so awesome
through us, through how we are.
No, but thank you so much for doing that. I've got some questions that I've asked some fans of yours throughout the week, because we've had arguments over these. We've got some footy questions, we got some Survivor questions. So one of the questions was, how do they reveal the winner to yourself? So as with reality TV, it's filmed earlier on than when it's released.
Yeah.
So how do you get to reveal who won? And
yeah, so we watched all the episodes as you did, and we filmed 2 endings.
Okay.
So we went and did our votes, and only one producer saw it.
Yeah.
And that's it. So we don't know who won what. We don't know how many votes landed where. So when we were watching the finale, that's just what it was.
Yeah. So you got your genuine reaction real time.
Yep. Yeah, so we didn't know.
That producer has to be so strong. I would not be able to keep that.
You look on Sportsbet real quick.
I got to tell mum or someone.
Yeah. Well, that's why the winner's never been leaked. So when there's 3 at the ending, they'll film 3 endings. So, and that's why, if you're losing $500,000, I'll be crying next to that person. But that's why you see Caroline so happy, because we just filmed her being happy.
Yeah. So it kind of takes a little bit of the pressure away a little bit more.
Nah,
that's awesome. Another one is when and where were the opportunities for you to share your culture with contestants on the show?
Oh, every day. Yeah, so we have so much time in the game, and a lot of like, I think our people do this anyways, but connection. Like, I need to understand the person to understand why they think the way that they think. And in a game like that, you need to know that, so that you know if you can actually trust them, or if you know you can trust them for this minute.
Yep.
So it was, every opportunity that a conversation was there, I shared something about culture. I did all the Aboriginal art, so I did a design for Survivor. And it's called One Island, or Island. It's called Island something. I'll tell you later. But yeah, I created our story and our journey, but I drew that in the sand and drew the symbols and told them this is what this means, this is what this means. And so when you're looking at it, you can actually see what that piece means.
That's wicked.
So at every opportunity, I was like, I'm proud of who I am.
Yeah. As you should be. That is that is an awesome answer. I can't. Did you ever fully trust Ferris during the game, or were you always wary that he could be after you? This is very thought out. This is very. These questions have been brewing from these fellas for a while.
The thing with Ferris, he played a paranoid game, and I was very straight up. Like, if I wanted you gone, I just wouldn't talk to you. Yeah. And I already had plans in place anyways, but up until merge, I was in control in the sense of I was planning and landing votes and like making shit happen. So when we got to merge, he probably didn't trust me, but at the same time, at Titans camp, once I got rid of Garrick, he begged me to go with him, or like to take him with me. And I was like, yeah, this brother's right in the palm of my hands here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could read him just I could read him just as well as he could read me. So it was Raymond that I didn't trust, and Ferris, I was hitting his ego up until that last tribal, because I was like, like, why don't we just go? Why don't you just play against me?
Just feeding the beast. We keep your enemies close. What is it? Keep your friends close and your enemies closer?
Yeah. So I guess we kind of did and didn't trust. We trusted each other when we needed to, and we knew when we needed to. So
that's kind of cool. But then at the same time, you're like, in the long run.
I
got this.
Give it hard and
Oh no. What was your favourite immunity/reward challenge on Survivor?
The reward, anything with food. I think we won Mexican. We're that hungry. That hungry. And you're not allowed to... So the Mexican feast is garlic and chili and everything else, like, the condiments.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to take them and then put them in the rice that we cook. That everything has to stay there. So we get searched. So somebody might have taken some garlic, maybe.
Someone, if only we could find out who.
I think I like the 3 challenges. I like 3 challenges. One with Viola.
Yep.
Strong woman, 20 years old, 8-pack. I was like, there's no way I'm wrestling her. So I was too smart for it. Like, Papa Nyunga, I was I want to do this. I'm going to be tricky here. So that was good because no one expected it, but no one else could do it. And the 2 challenges that I needed to win, that, I needed to win those.
Yep. So, and just anything with food as well.
Anything with food. Anything with food. We're that hungry.
Did you get much sleep during that, or was it very...
No, early on it rained. So it rained, we had no shelter, we were wet. So what we're in is what we live in. So if you lose that jumper, you're
gone.
You lose that jumper, you don't get another one. So I burnt my socks, like they lit up in front of me because I was trying to dry them, but they were gone forever. So we were cold for 3 or 4 days. Wood was wet, so I hate the cold. I used to put rocks in the fire and put them up my shirt for like
Just
hot water bottle.
Yeah.
So that was the only way that I learned how to sleep. But if I wasn't cold and I heard somebody get up, like if you went this way and somebody else followed you, I'd get up and go and like try and listen to what you're talking about because the strat chatting and you're paranoid. There's $500,000 on the line. So I just wanted to know who was talking to who, and if it was somebody that I didn't trust, like I just wanted to keep an eye on them. So I didn't sleep a lot.
You didn't sleep a lot.
Was
the brain always? Did you have any moments off where? See, I'm going off these questions.
No,
did you have any moments off where it was like, I need to like focus. I need to focus here. I'm like drifting.
No, I was always in the game, and probably the time that I lost that sort of concentration, I was fatigued. I was then fighting to stay in the game, and just like I was emotionally and physically drained as well as hungry when I lost that challenge, that ball challenge. I knew that it took 25 seconds to get down to count those balls, but not at any stage did I count it, and I didn't adjust anything. Like, I just wasn't thinking. So that was probably the worst I felt.
And that's when the fatigue just set in. And then
100%. As soon as I had food, I was good again. It was wild. Yeah.
Oh, no. Another one was most intense night. What was your most intense night post-tribal council where tensions was high? So what was, for you, what was your most intense night?
Probably the first vote off with Peter, where I sat on the fence. So I've never watched, just for context, I've never ever watched Survivor. So I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I sat on the fence, rookie mistake. I didn't need to because I was sitting with the majority, but I also didn't lie about it. I walked straight up to Ferris and I said, did this because of this, but I didn't need to, so have my vote. So I did that with everyone. And then I went up to Garrick, and Garrick just blew up, like swearing, ripping up, like yelling, throwing his hands around. And I was like, this is too much. Like, we're in a game here. I'm telling you the truth. Like, you either believe me or you don't. So, that tension he created, that was it. So when you see us at the Tribal Council come Titans, when I'm having an argument with those two fellas... I knew I could get under their skin. And I didn't care too. I was like, no, don't talk to me like that.
Oh no, that had me in cramps when he was like I'm not scared of Kirby. I'll stand next to Kirby. I'm not scared. But he said it like while his voice was trembling
and looking around like, am I?
Yeah, every noon I was like. Bro.
I won't flinch if I sit next to Kirby, and then he flinched. He flinched.
Same time. Another question that I think you already answered is, in your prime, how do you think you would go in today's AFL game with, obviously with how the league has expanded, with you've got players like Abby Holmes, Aaron Phillips, Taylor Harris, and then, one of the best, Monique Conti, when you talk about cross sports and that, how do you think you will manage, and what some things those girls can do, those women can do in their career for longevity as well while they're in the system?
Yeah, I think at my peak, it would have been like fine to slot into like the AFLW for what it is now, because it's still watered down in the sense of not everyone understands football and positioning, running patterns, like even skills. So I was really hard on myself with doing the 1%ers with skills, like to the point if I dropped the ball, I'd be doing laps or doing push-ups or something, and then I'd recount them. I'd start them again till I got 100%. But I think, with a lot of the players, because they're playing in the system and they're so young, I don't think that they can really grasp like this isn't permanent, and if you don't make the most of this one season, who knows what next season looks like, and you might just be on the list and you're on the list to fill numbers. You're not on the list because we want you on it.
Yep.
So I think doing everything you can to be the best you can be, and thrive in that space, but find the people that help you be that. Which is hard again too, because if you're an Aboriginal girl in any of those clubs and you don't have a person that lets you be you or allows, that platform for you to be that's your cheeky self, or to be creative, or to play the footy that then you feel really restricted and those opportunities don't come. So, and that's, I find, the hardest thing.
To really gravitate towards those leaders and the leadership team in that, who are obviously doing the right things and doing everything they can to be the best that they can be, and shadow them. Hey, that's one thing that I think a lot of us mob, do really well, is we find people with the same sort of intent as us. Yeah. And that, like you said, that's something these girls can do. Yeah. For longevity, and eventually the game's going to have a full season. That's going to only benefit the game so much more, is having a full season, the women actually being paid properly. So, because a lot of the times you need, just to support yourself, you need another job as well as play in AFL. Ridiculous, but you know what I mean? When the league eventually has become a full season, I think the game is going to develop, like you said, so much more when in terms of getting in a full pre-season, a full year of fixtures, and actually having some good quality time off as well. And
I think the AFLW is in a position that they can do it better for our young kids, like our young Aboriginal girls, to be in the system but set the system up for success. You're watching the boys, and we're in 2024. The game's been around for so long, but even they're not being that well set up for success. Yes, the finances are there, and yes, they can, do so well, but it's only there for a certain amount of time. Whereas we're going overseas to the Irish girls and trying to recruit. We've got talent. We've got more talent here within our own Aboriginal girls that will change the way we not only play the game but view the game for that excitement factor, right?
Exactly.
With natural talent. But I think that they can definitely do something different with that.
Exactly. and it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of time. It's you can see it slowly transitioning, and I honestly think within the next year or two that's when it's gonna, not fully, because we're you can always keep going, but within the next year or two, I think a lot of the young stars that we have in the game now is in a good place. I feel like the game's in a good place at the moment.
No, I agree. I agree. We just get more of our girls out there.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. Well, as part of this show I like to give flowers. So, in not literal flowers, because my hay fever, I'll be sneezing all over the place. Too. Yeah, you'll be in the car. No, when I talk about flowers, is not many of our people get the they don't get that celebration of just who they are. A lot of the people that I've found that I've interviewed, they don't realise the amazing stuff, the amazing people, and the amazing things they've had to overcome to be where they are now. And this is exactly what I want to give to you now, is not only through your sporting stuff, through your community involvement, with the Kirby Cup, through expressing your art, not only on a national scale, but whether that's through who you are as a person, expressing your art through your culture, through, painting or whatever that may be, and really excelling in sport and using that as a platform to be yourself, show yourself, represent your mob and your people. As a young Noongar man, I just want to say thank you for showing my sisters and my aunties and my nieces what they can do, and showing them who they can be, and they're not being any limit. So that's just what I want to say, is just thank you so much for being you, and just doing the things that you are in the coaching world, the sporting world. Yeah, I can go on. I can just keep going on and on and on. But
I hope people say it back to you too, because what you're doing is the same thing, and I appreciate it as well. So, we need to create the change, and we need to change it for better, because we are better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it. If not us, then who?
Yeah, exactly.
If not us, then who? But
exactly.
no. So thank you very much. So what's coming up in the future? What's coming up in the near future for you?
Once I get over the loss of that $500,000, I might go back on and try it again. Yeah.
Would there be more reality TV in the future?
Yeah, there's been some chats about it, and again, the only reason I would do it is to create a bigger platform to be able to help drive the things that I stand for. So, not only mob, but women domestic violence, creating that change, and mental health, with all the brothers and that change as well, but not just the brothers, but anyone. So, yeah. So
then, what about hosting? Have you thought about doing any hosting opportunities like that?
Hosting like a...
Oh, because very, very well spoken, awesome media presence. Is there anything like I know, we've got yokai footy, and there's so much more stuff like that is progressing in the basketball world as well as the footy. Would that be something that you would want to step into? And if you need a co-host,
hey,
dust.
Well, if I ever did, I'll come for you. But I think yokai's not even happening anymore. I don't think that the AFL are running it again, which is sad because like Megsy and Cracks, they ran it so well and they were so engaging, but it actually helped a lot of the learnings and discussions too. Anyways, I've gone off topic, but I'm definitely open to any of that, but I would prefer to have the conversations on a deeper level, not just talking to people.
Exactly. And then where can people find your art as well?
On my Instagram, and there's a little link that takes you straight to Nyala.
We'll put it up here. Kirby, thank you so much for your time. Thank you to the aeroplane gods for cancelling your flight so that you can come in today and having this discussion. But thank you so much, and make sure that you get behind this awesome lady, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Easy.
We'll go with it.
So good.